Okay, so what makes a person Jewish? If you're dealing on the internet and you go to the comment section and you're dealing with a lot of people who have so many misconceptions and have spread so many lies about the Jewish people today, they often say that the modern Jewish people have nothing to do with the ancient Jews. They tell us that we're not actually Jewish because our ancestry was exiled to different continents in Europe and Asia, and we have nothing to do with our ancestral homeland. And they often reference DNA as some sort of be-all and end-all result of determining if one is Jewish. So let's just look at DNA and halacha and see, does that actually determine if one's Jewishness? Let's remember, DNA does not necessarily align with Jewish law. The DNA test is a modern invention and a tool that's very interesting and very eye-opening, and it can aid in verifying if a Jew is in fact Jewish, but it's not the sole arbiter of that verification. Just as one's clothing, their strimal or their black hats, or the food they eat does not determine if they're Jewish. So halachically, for one to be a Jewish person, their mother has to be halachically Jewish, or they have to be converted properly through the Jewish Beit Din, through very rigorous study and testing. Jewish judges have to make sure that the person will be a very well-integrated person in Jewish society, and you can't just buy a certificate for that, as some people might want you to think. A famous teaching by Rav Hai Gaon was that a Jewish person is a Jew based solely on the fact of their observance of the Torah that has an unbroken chain going back to Har Sinai. So you have people from father to son, from rabbi to student, observing the Torah as it was given, keeping the Shabbat, wearing our tefillin, doing all the mitzvot that were outlined in the Torah. We have a clear trace of where the Jews were exiled to after the destruction of the Second Temple, based on communities that were established, Jewish graveyards, where each Jewish gravestone has the Hebrew date on the Hebrew calendar when the person passed away and the person's Hebrew name. The publications of different rabbis, which state in the beginning, obviously in the opening, where and when the book was first transcribed or printed. In fact, we actually have a trace of the path of migration from community to community, following these above-mentioned clues, and the communications via letters from one community to the other when people ask different rabbis in different communities questions. And again, these letters are all dated, and they show us which cities the Jews lived in. And you can basically map out, based on the geography and the time, the path of migration for the Jewish people. Further, another thing that skews this DNA tests, which can totally throw it off the charts, is the fact that we have converts to Judaism. There have been many converts to Judaism throughout our exiles. The Torah already speaks of converts from Egypt, Edom, and Persia. Exodus 12:38 says, a mixed multitude went up from them from Egypt, and very much livestock and flocks and herds. So a lot of Egyptian people, after the 10 plagues, actually joined onto the Jewish people. Moses converted them, as the Torah says in the commentaries. So we have a lot of Egyptians already joining the Jewish people the moment the Jewish people already began. Esther in 8:17 says, and many of the nations of the Persians, many people from the Persian Empire, were becoming Jewish after the defeat of Haman and all his sons and all the haters of the Jewish people in that time period when Achashverosh gave us the ability to defend ourselves and stand up against Haman. While in the Talmud, it already speaks of many converts from Greece and Rome. So Onkelos, for example, is a very famous commentary. He was a convert. Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Meir, for example, their parents were converts. Shemaiah and Avtalon, again, very famous rabbis from the Talmud. Today, I've personally seen converts who are Asian, African, European. So we see here DNA is not the deciding factor to prove who is Jewish in this proving your Jewish battle. It's unwavering dedication to the Word of God. We won't have, again, these self-proclaimed, haters of the Jewish people tell us who's Jewish, especially if you don't see anyone else claiming they're Jewish and the Jewish people are denying that these people are Jewish and we're the real ones. There's only one people who are claiming to be Jewish, and that's us. The Jewish people who are keeping the Torah today, as it's always been handed down to us from our fathers. So DNA alone cannot tell if you're Jewish. Many converts over the ages who have joined and fully integrated into the Jewish people makes them 100% Jewish, and they are now part of the Jewish people, which will obviously skew and degrade the accuracy of DNA tests and for determining one's Jewishness. And so today we've seen the prophecy of the exile of the Jewish people from their homeland play out. We've been exiled to the four corners of the world, as promised by God. And now we're witnessing the miracle of the Jewish people's return to their ancestral homeland, again, as promised by God in the prophets, unfolding before our eyes. So I just hope that sheds some light on the topic. So DNA alone does not determine if one is Jewish. It's that unwavering dedication to the Torah and the observance of the mitzvot. Have a good day.